today said that ISIS inspired two men whom they say tried to set off homemade bombs during Saturday's counter-protests outside the mayor's mansion. The bombs did not explode. We're joined now by CNN national security analyst Alex Plitzis. So, Alex, this happened during dueling protests. Mayor Mamdani says the first was called Stop the Muslim Takeover of New York City. It was rooted in white supremacist groups. It provoked a second and larger counter-protest, and the alleged bomb throwers were part of that group. The criminal complaint released just this afternoon has shots from two angles of one suspect holding the first bomb. Notice in the picture on the left, the fuse is lit. Another picture shows the second suspect handing him one of the bombs. Is this a situation unique to New York? Is this related at all, theoretically, you suspect, to what's going on in Iran?
It's certainly not unique to New York. I mean, we saw a shooting not that long ago in Texas, in Austin, where an individual was wearing, a shirt that said "Property of Allah." Underneath it, he was wearing a T-shirt, I believe, with the Iranian flag on it. And the JTTF immediately initiated an investigation, trying to make the connection to terrorism based on what was evidence presented at the scene. And now we're seeing this weeks later. But in this case, there doesn't appear to be a direct connection to Iran. ISIS has actually conducted bombings inside of Iran not that long ago. They blamed the Iranians for, in part, for their defeat for the caliphate, because the Iranians, for the fighting that we're having right now, the militias they backed in Iraq actually served as the ground force to help fight ISIS, and they actually dispatched Hezbollah on the ground inside Syria, which in part fought ISIS as well. So ISIS bombed the memorial, or the grave rather, of Qasem Soleimani on the anniversary at one point, and so there's no love lost between the two. So I don't know that it would necessarily be connected based on ideology, but this is what happens when you've got lone wolves, potentially folks that are self-radicalized or material online. And what looked like very rudimentary devices ended up being pretty significant in terms of the presence of TATP, an explosive compound, and then it was taken and sort of rendered safe the other devices. So, this was a lucky one, with great law enforcement that were able to take care of this quickly, but this could have been a significant tragedy.
You're a national security expert and analyst. How worried are you about more attacks like this and like the one in Texas, whether tied to the war in Iran or not?
Significantly concerned. Not that there's a particular plot that I'm aware of, and not to be alarmist for folks who are listening, but we can kind of walk through some of the facts that have come out and come to light recently about why I would make that comment. So there's been 3 cells that have been arrested in Qatar, in the UK, and in Azerbaijan over the last week that were affiliated with the IRGC, the Quds Force, that's Iran's special operations folks that have an external cell. That were engaged in either intelligence collection or surveillance in preparation, likely for sabotage or terrorist operations. We saw a bombing outside of the U.S. Embassy in Oslo. We still don't know who's responsible for that. And then there was reporting that came out earlier today that code words appear to have been intercepted, where the Iranians may have activated sleeper cells globally amongst their IRGC folks, or potentially Hezbollah. And so they've been known to have folks slip in and out of the United States, intelligence officers from Iran in covert status, who have been in the United States conducting surveillance on targets, who've also attempted to contract hitmen in some cases. There's a plot against President Trump himself. There's a very famous female dissident who lives in Brooklyn. They were attempting to assassinate her as well. They've become exceptionally bold in recent years. And this all sort of came to light during the Obama administration, when it was revealed and disrupted that they were looking at actually bombing a restaurant in Washington at one point, where the Saudi ambassador was said to have been eating. So the threat is real, and as Iran gets further backed into a corner and its military capabilities are further degraded, there's a possibility it could turn to asymmetric threats. And as we like to say in the business, one time is an instance, two times a coincidence, 3 times is hostile enemy action. We had 3 cells arrested this week, a bombing outside Oslo, and then potential chatter now about sleeper cells being activated. So the JTTF, and speaking to contacts within the FBI and law enforcement community, are actively monitoring and aggressively pursuing any leads that are out there right now, including with international partners. So confidence in the efforts our federal law enforcement, along with their local partners, have. But they only have to be right once, and we have to be right every time.
Yeah. Alex Plitzis, thank you so much for your expertise. Appreciate it.